Good afternoon, everyone. So today's topic will be discussing about the nucleus. Nucleus is prominent and it has some characteristic features. The word prominent describes that it is clearly visible and it has special features to identify it. Suppose in prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, in prokaryotic cells there is no defined nucleus present, whereas in eukaryotic cells we have a defined nucleus present. So that is the difference between the prokaryote and eukaryote. So only eukaryotic cells will have a true nucleus present in it, whereas prokaryotic cells have other substances such as chromatins and cell membrane and everything. But whereas eukaryotic cells, these cells have prominent nucleus, cell membrane, and cell organelles present in it. So every essence of eukaryote has a membrane-bound nucleus. What do you understand by eukaryote? EU word means that is true, and karyon means nucleus. So this means that eukaryotic cells have real and well-defined nucleus present in it. The most important feature that makes a cell eukaryote is presence of nucleus surrounding by a membrane. The nucleus was first discovered by Ernest Rutherford. He has discovered nucleus by a gold foil experiment. Through that experiment, we found that nucleus is present in every cell. It is specifically eukaryotic cells have defined nucleus present in it. Here you can see a picture of prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. In prokaryotic cell, we have cytoplasm, nucleoid, plasma membrane, cell wall, capsule, and flagellum, and ribosomes. Whereas there is no defined nucleus present inside the prokaryotic cell. In eukaryotic cell, here you can see in the image that there is nucleus present. It is somewhat spherical in shape, and beside the nucleus we have endoplasmic reticulum and mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of cell, ribosomes, cytoplasm, and Golgi bodies. So this is the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, and eukaryotic cells have defined nucleus. Next, we have types of eukaryotic cells. So eukaryotic cells can be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular is single cell component. If a cell has only single cell, that is called as unicellular eukaryotic cell. Whereas multicellular eukaryotic cells, more than one cell, it is called as multicellular. In unicellular, we have fungi, protozoa. Whereas in multicellular, we have plants and animals as an example. So So the nucleus is the genetic control center of eukaryotic cell. The nucleus is a genetic control cell. That means that the nucleus controls all activities of the cell because it contains a genetic material. The genetic material is DNA. In most cells, there is only one nucleus. And how is the nucleus? It is spherical in shape. And it is the most prominent part that it can be seen clearly. You can see through a microscope and it can be seen clearly. And how is it? It is in a spherical form. So it makes up to 10% of the cell volume. In the total cell, it makes up to 10%. And it has unique structure and function that is essential in the cell. So next we have the components of the nucleus. So the average diameter of the nucleus is 6 micrometers in size. And we have four components in the nucleus. That is nuclear envelope, nucleoplasm, nucleolus, and chromatin. Nuclear envelope is the one which contains pores on it. Whereas nucleoplasm is the fluid inside the nucleus. And nucleolus is a dense cluster of RNA and protein and ribosomes. Each each uh, component will discuss it in detail. And chromatins. The last one are the chromatins. Chromatins are the ones which contain DNA and the proteins. So you can see in this picture, we have outer layer and this is the structure of the nucleus. We have outer membrane and inner membrane. So between that we have the nuclear pores and inside the nucleus we have nucleolus and chromatin fibers. This is the structure of the nucleus. Next is the nuclear membrane. So this nuclear membrane is also known as nuclear envelope or nucleolemma. Other name of nuclear membrane is nucleolemma. What does it do is it keeps the DNA and the nuclear content separate from the cytoplasm. And this nucleolemma is made up of two layers, two lipid layers. That is, these two layers are made up of lipids. So it contains two layers, right? One is the outer membrane and other one is the inner membrane. So the nuclear envelope is a double layered membrane with pores. So we'll discuss about these pores in detail. So nuclear membrane is double layered and perforated with pores. That is, it contains pores on the surface of it. In the last slide, we have seen the structure, right? We have outer membrane and the inner membrane, and next we have some pores in it. So between these two layers, we have nuclear pores. See here, you can see in this image as well. Here you can see the outer membrane. Here you can see some space, and this is the inner layer, and there is some space and some pores present in between them. Those are called the nuclear pores. So outer layer of the nuclear membrane is connected to the endoplasmic reticulum. So why is the outer layer connected to the endoplasmic reticulum? So that it allows the exchange of large molecules like proteins and RNA to pass through the nuclear pores. So we had two layers, the outer layer and inner layer, and between that we have endoplasmic reticulum. So why is it connected to the endoplasmic reticulum? So that it can allow exchange of large molecules like protein and RNA to pass through the nuclear pores. Next, we have the functioning of the nuclear membrane. So first one is the shape and stability. Components what it separates the nuclear material from the cellular material. It separates the nuclear content from the cellular content. Next, the third one is regulation of the substances. It controls what enters and leaves the nucleus. And communication, it allows the chemical communication between the nucleus and the cell. Nucleus is present in the cell. So it will allow the communication. The nuclear membrane will allow the communication of the in between the nucleus and the cell. So the next component is the nuclear core. So membrane. Those nuclear pores are most noticeable and are important structures present in the nuclear membrane. What do you understand by distinctive feature? Because of this feature present on the nuclear membrane, it will help in various functions. And these nuclear pores have small cylindrical channels. So these channels, what do they do? These channels help in exchange of material. These these pores have openings and that will connect to the cytosol, that is the cytoplasm, with the nucleoplasm, that is inside the nucleus. The nucleoplasm is what is the inside the nucleus part is called as nucleoplasm. Cytoplasm is the fluid which is present inside the cell. First one we have discussed about distinctive features of nuclear membrane, and second is small cylindrical channels which are directly present on the nuclear membrane which help in transport of material, and it has a direct contact between the cytoplasm and the nucleoplasm, and it can be readily visible, and you can see this through a freeze fracture microscope. And on an average, mammalian nucleus consists of 3,000 to 4,000 pores on it that is present on the nuclear membrane. An inner and outer membrane fuses. As we have seen in the last picture, there is fusion of inner and outer membrane, and there we have the nuclear core. So, and it has structural complexity and control transport of key molecules. Due to the complex structure, nuclear pores selectively control the movement of important molecules. These pores will have selective movement, that is, molecules like RNA, protein, and enzymes can move into and out of the nucleus. It is selectively, like, movement happens selectively. It won't allow everything to pass through it. It will only allow certain molecules like RNA, proteins, and enzymes. Here in the picture, you can see we have the nuclear pores present here. And in the below picture, there is two membranes, that is the outer membrane and the inner membrane. And here you have a nuclear pore. It is like a channel so that it will allow whichever the substance are outside, it can allow them inside the nucleoplasm. This surface outer membrane is in contact with the cytoplasm, whereas inner surface is in contact with the nucleoplasm. Then next is the functions of the nuclear pores. So nuclear pores help in exchange of materials between the nucleus and the cytoplasm, and passive diffusion of lower molecular weight solutes. Small molecules can pass through by passive diffusion through these pores, but whereas large molecules then need special proteins to pass through the membrane of the nucleus. So transport is selective and regulated, and efficient